you are making call, you are sending a signal. So at the receiver's end, this is already programmed. It can rechannel or redirect your call. For a good example, if you are calling MTN now during a customer care, they will say press 1 for English. You are already on the call, so you have established a call. But the moment you press 1, it will not go back to its register at the receiver's end. What is the function of 1? 1 means I should talk to the person in Yoruba. So it will now pick your call from the regular, let's say, from the general, we call it shunts, general shunts, HVT. It will now take you to where you are going. That's 1. Number 2, during a normal call, you have already established a call. You want to add another person to that call. Do you know that you can't just be pressing 1, 2, 3 again? Yes. You press that person's what? Number. So you will be able to add him to the call, making it a conference call. That's another way DTMF works. So there are some functions of DTMF. You can use it to redirect channels, your voice channel. Instead of going to the register, goes to another jumps. And at the same time, who follow me to where I configure phone, you will see there was a point I was configuring the gate. It was asking me a flash or a DTMF. Okay. If I accept flash, the moment I flash the gate now, where the gate is, it will do what? The gate will open. But if I'm using a DTMF means the moment I call that number, it's not go there as a flash. I will now need to add extra command. I might put 1 to do what? Trigger, open completely. 2 for pedestrians. Are you guys getting what I'm saying now? So after dialing the number, if I now press 1 after dialing the number, what will happen to that video? It will open completely. If that phone is still ringing, as long as I've not added anything to the DTMF, it will just ring and cut. But when you are designing any network, you must look at comfortability of the end user. So how will I now explain to an old man that after you call the number of your gate, press 1, press 2, does it make sense? So it's easier for me to tell him that just call that number. The gate to do what? Open completely. And call that number again, the gate will also close completely. So DTMF tones are tones that you can add to your normal voice call to perform extra function. All of you wrote it, but you don't understand what you wrote.
I was trying to actually, that was exactly where I understood, but
you don't know how to express yourself. Okay. So question number 2. What's the line in telecommunication? Who was this note? Then you use another person. What's the line in telecommunication? This one said any cable utilized for the purpose of transmission such as voice call, video signals, and internet material, electronic mail can go with the line. You are partially right. Yeah, any other answer?
So it can also be referred to as any wire, cable, or equipment.
A line means connecting a telephone to intercom. You are also right. We have another suggestion. A line has so many meanings.
So it can also be referred to as any wire, cable, equipment, power, mast, antenna, or tunnel or hole, pit or hole, or other structure, things intended to be used in connection with telecommunication system.
Yeah, you're also right. Any other question? Well, I should feel better. Right, all of you got it too, but you not got it right. I said you should do what? Line in telecommunication. What are we discussing in telecommunication? Voice call.
Yes, sir.
So what's the line in voice call?
The formula
connect radio transmitters and receivers with the antenna.
Connect? Yeah, you are partially right. To what? To the means of the means of communication.
Trunk line, the route calls between telephone switching centers.
Thank you very much. In voice call, a trunk line is a design that routes a call. So if I have a line like this, if I have a wire like this in telecommunication, I can have multiple lines inside this loop. How you guys do? Yes. I can have multiple lines. As long as I have a means of routing calls from sender to user. So if I have 10 destination number on this single wire, how many lines do I have inside?
10 lines.
10 lines. You guys get what I'm saying now? I have a wire now. Let me assume that this is the transmitter and this is the receiver. And I have a wire that links it. And inside this wire now, I have one, it's carrying 10 voice calls. It's carrying one data line. It carries one fax and maybe one trigger. How many lines do I have there now?
13 lines.
13 lines. Meaning that a complete transmission and receiving of a signal is a single line. So when you have multiple routings, you have multiple lines. Because we still get to where we'll be talking of 10 pair cable, so that you not confuse cable with line. And I decided to design a system that will use 2 pair wire. And my 2 pair wire will carry 2 lines. And you can decide that you want to use that same 2 pair wire to carry what? One single line. Nobody followed me to that hotel in Ilesha. The guy was wasting cable. He was using 10 pair cable to carry one single line. But later I heard that the contractor bought material, so he quoted in excess for the material. That's the whole problem. So the moment you can establish a complete routing of the transmission and receiving, you establish a line. And then move on. What's our third question?
How do you design a line?
How do you design a line? Yeah, that's the third. Eh? Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, let me check your nose. Let me check your nose. Yeah. Stand up. I like data intercommunication. Who talk about data? Stand up, Daddy. I said, no shame.
There is another question on that.
I asked how to establish a line. Yeah, who did it? How many people did it? You did it. Who else did not do it? Nobody. Go and buy one quick. So how do we establish a line?
Let's study the house. Okay, let's see. Answer, I would that when you want to design a line, you select the best possible route selection. Then you select. You select a transmission line. Yes. So whether it's going to be the shortest length or you, so that it will ease construction as well, and in finding fault if there is any fault. Then I wrote that it is carried out for deciding upon. Okay, you select the most economical line route and the most economical location of towers in views of the high cost of per location.
Any other suggestion? Every of these points is right. Any other? What do you write?
Construct a fresh signal cable.
You construct
A fresh signal cable.
signal cable. Show his face now. Signal
If
cable.
required,
Install
the necessary threads and sockets at the terminal points.
You are very, very right. Oh yeah?
So,
No, okay, it's not around. You are excused. Yeah, John.
It's a port network.
Port network, yeah.
So we call it the quadruple.
Quadruple,
like also called the quadruple.
What's the meaning of quadruple?
I know.
You don't know.
I wanted.
You want to find out. You want me to start giving assignment out of assignment? That's a voice. That's in a voice channel. You can establish a line of quadruple. Quad means how many wires?
4.
we are still coming to that maybe during this class. So I will, if we get to that point in the class, I will explain. When we don't get to that point, you have another assignment. Oh yeah, Oga Monday.
Establish a line through various channels, usually between the shortest, depending on how the client, depending on how you want to establish it.
Guys, half from here. Nobody half to say no, Laura Coco. You go and buy half from here. No, I did not know
the phone box. Are you going to make your long then also there are some things required. The wire, what kind of wire? The outlet, the point down.
You are very right. That's okay. That's okay. Oh yeah, do the thing.
Standard line is installing a line system is a new construction situation involving installing 4 basic elements: drop wire, outlet, jack,
Okay, you are still right. Although you are reading from the book, but you are still right. So you are behind this. So you don't even write that one out.
So constructing a line, the first thing you have to do is take note of how many lines do you so that will determine the type of whether you're going to use IJ or you're going to use the type of line.
You don't even talk about it. What you added, none of them talk about it. There are sometimes, most times, not only the economic cost. You must first check how many lines do you want to pass along that. That will determine every other thing. We have question number 4.
Color code.
Color code.
4 pairs.
Unfortunately, under this color code, unfortunately, I'm not here with the tools. You know, I promised you guys I'm bringing patterns. Instead of bringing patterns, I actually brought another thing entirely. Oh yeah, color code.
That is a long note.
Oh yeah, now. Yeah, bring the notes. Bring it one after the other. Whether you follow. How many of you saved that color code on your phone?
This one.
Hello? Yes, sir.
Information from one network access point to another via data transmission line.
I say data and information you are assisting via data is used.
Yeah?
I'm listening to you.
No, I say it's a system designed to transfer information from one network access point.
That's
So data in telecommunication refers to all the information comprising of registry, call log, voice.
any other suggestion? Oga Monday. Data and communication.
Data is information, the receiving and the incoming and outcoming information.
There is a mix of them. When you are using information, data is a structured information. Data is a structured information. Is there any other suggestion you give? So any other assignment I gave you guys?
That's all.
So it's also a raw information.
That's it.
Yes, as long as it's a raw information, not yet structured, still a data.
And what cook? Well done.
For those that bought Coke, That's not an excuse. And you come back pay. It's only the people that they are moving fully. We are moving fully to Intercom now. We are moving to. You have this, it's called RJP, right? Against next class, I'll bring an RJP. Although we are not yet clipping. It will be towards our practical that we'll start clipping. We are not yet clipping now. But I'll give us color code. We have two types of color code. You can start writing. In 4 cable, we have 2 types of color code. 4 cable, we have 2 types of color code. We have what we call the solid colored wires. Solid colored wires. Band strip wires. Solid color wires, and we have what we call band strip wires. Your 4 cable most times nowadays have what we call band strip wires. That's where you now be seeing orange, white of orange, blue, white of blue. Those ones are what? Band strip. Meaning that there is a stripe along the band. If you have blue, you have blue with stripe. If you have orange, you have orange with what? Stripe. That's band strip wires. And they are normally common in what? 4 cable. Put it down. Then for solid state wires, in your patches, your intercom patches, you have what we call solid state wire. So in solid state wire, there's nothing like stripe of. You have red, you have black, you have green, and you have yellow. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes,
now?
sir.
Against our next class, I'll bring this. So you see how it looks like. That's band solid state wires or solid colored wires. But for band strip wires, we have white of orange, white of blue, white of green, green, and orange. That's it. Sorry, white of orange, white of blue, blue and orange. So can I move on now?
Yes, sir.
Then the next thing we now have, we have what we call the number slots. Number slots. For your RJ level, your number slot is from 1 to 6. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have what? Your number slot. And lastly, we have the signal types. Signal types. Your signal type can either be tip or ring. Pause, tip or ring. Tip, yes, TIP. Ring, RING. Then your tip can also be transmission, and your ring can also be what? Receiving. You know, one of the best ways you can remember is when somebody slap, you can easily remember. The person that slap is the one transmitting. The one that received the slap is the receiver, is the ring. That's just the best way to remember it. Or should we try it? No. I was thinking those are saying yes. I was just saying one should slap the other. So we now know who is transmitting.
The biggest slap Malakai.
The last one. The last one, we now have what we call the signal code. We have the positive and the negative. Positive and negative.
The number slot signal type.
Number slot is 1 to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Signal type is tip. It's either it's tipping or it's ringing. It's either it's transmitting or what to receiving. And the signal code we have what? Positive and negative. Is positively flying? Is it a transmitter or the receiver? How many of you did electronics?
It's a transmitter.
It's a transmitter. Yeah, you are right. You still remember what you were taught in school? Hello? We are positive. Why a receiving signal is what?
Negative.
Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Then we now want to what? Synchronize all of them together. We want to synchronize all of them together. Let me put it this way. Before we now move to that, we have pairs before synchronization. Write it down. We have one pair.
We have
Pairs. One pair. Two pair. And three pair. At 3 pairs, how many wires will be there? 6. At 2 pairs, how many wires will be there? 4. At 1 pair, how many wires will be there? You guys are following. Yeah. Let me now do a drawing. You now do a diagram like this. See how I wrote it. You write pair 1, you leave a space, pair 2, you leave another space here, what? Pair 3. Under 1 like this, just draw 2 arrows like this. Under 2 like this, draw another what? 2 arrows like this. And under 3, draw another 2 arrows like this. Oh, yeah, everybody draw that. Can you see why? What is it? Yeah. I've done it now. The next thing you now do is now, CO, you write T, R, T, R, R.
mean that T stands for transmitting.
Yes, tip is also transmitting. Ring is also what? Receiving. This thing that I'm giving you, any intercom that you want to do, thank God some guys are here that have done intercom practical before you must know it offhand. Because what you are doing now, if you are installing a 64 channel intercom, which is what you are doing now, you will repeat it 64 times 4. Yeah. Am I right or not? Yeah. 64 times 4 times. And if you make mistake once like this, that line might not come up. You will be tracing faults. Yeah. After that one, you know, I told you that what? T is what? Positive. T again is what? Positive. R is what? Negative. T is what?
Positive.
R is what?
Negative.
R is what? Yeah. Write it like that. You always come late to class. You will notice one thing here. Every pair that has a transmitting line, at this other end is what? So this one transmits and this one receives. This transmits and this receives. This receive and the other one what? Transmits. Don't make that mistake, oh. Especially that one pair. That's the main line. You make mistake like this. You are your own. So I will now put number on it now. 1, 2. You put what? Sign code there. You put this one. Signal code. You now write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This one is what? Number code. Yeah, everybody. See, even an idiot, an electrician that doesn't know anything about intercom can run intercom wire for you. But this one I'm doing, you might not be able to do it. Oh, well, I'll go clear. Number 1, number 2. Number 1 and number 6, they are not in use. Put it down on one side of your notes. Number 1 and number 6 are not in use. We only use that number 1 and number 6 in building days. So any system that you see that they are using that number 1 and number 6, we don't call it RJ11. We call it RJ14. And receiving of video signals. And they are not available in voice call. Any design that you see number 1, number 6, we don't call it RJ11 again. We call it what? RJ14. And it's not commonly used again. Who else notes is very open? So we now have is now, I want to use what we call band strip code. Or let me put color code in front. Band strip color code. Under one, we put hash. Under 6, you put. Sorry, under 1 you put ash. Star. Under 6 you put asterisk or ash. Under 1 you put star. Under 6 you put ash. Yeah, everybody do it. This one doesn't have any color. This one doesn't have any color. So the next one we now have on number 2, you write white of orange. White of orange. White of orange. Number 2 is what? White of orange. I think we know what? Blue. Number 3 is attached to what? Blue. And number 5, orange.
Number 4 is white.
White of butter.
This red, green, you only see what? Blue, white of blue, orange, and white of orange. And the way we draw it here. Are you guys get what I'm saying now? When we get the matter is I don't want us to waste a lot of things. On our practical day, maybe I'll just give it person 60 pins. The moment you waste pin like this, or this is what I'll do, I'll give you the free one. Everybody that waste pin will now pay for the wasted one. Do we all agree to it? One pin is 15 naira. So I'll just give you 6. The moment you waste it. No, kí ló lè lè ètò ní méjì kò lè lè ẹgbẹ́ lè sílẹ̀ méjì kò lè máa kékeré rà.
Check under the table.
Under the table there is one there that is 300 meters already. Can I move on or we should wait for them to bring that one? Àwọn tó fowó ra kókì lọ́wọ́ pé ọ̀gá yìí this is what I want to achieve. That guy should say they should bring the wine. Not every time you see orange. That's why I said they should bring this wine. Sometimes when you don't see orange, you see what? Blue. You see brown.
Brown.
No, you can't know so long. Who said blue?
Èmi kọ́ mo sọ̀rọ̀ sẹ́ẹ̀. Nínú bá sọ̀rọ̀ mi lò sọ̀rọ̀. Na for here.
So you will notice that when you have blue, you have what? White or blue stripe. You have brown, you have white. That's why they call it strand or striped code. Striped color code. Can I move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
How many of us know Debbie Cancy? Huh? How many of us know Grouper?
Debbie Cancy.
I know.
So DRGY. First write out code at one side. We write it somewhere. You know, there is a code that we use in multiple running code. We say Y running back. We still get to that stage. Y running back. But DRGY. So DRGY means black. D also stands for what? Dark. And dark is black. We have red, green, and yellow. This is what we call solid color code.
Now we have black.
You write 20 pair color code.
20 pair.
That's right. 20 pair. What I drew now, I now want to be explaining it. Hope everybody have drawn it. Is everybody okay now?
Yes,
Pair 1 is what we call, no, let me start from Pier 6. Pier 3. Pier 3, they are non-usable in voice call. Pier 3. So anything you see on 1 and 6, you are not using them at all in what?
Voice call.
On RJ level. I'm trying to explain it now. Can I move on? But if it's a video intercom, in the olden days, we normally do what? Use it.
You keep saying in the days, are there no video intercom?
We have video intercom again, but most of video intercom that we have nowadays, they process information to data. So instead of using 3 pair, they normally use 4 pair column. So we normally use 4 pair. So before the information leave the transmitting end, it has already converted it to data, not electrical signals in this case. Are you getting what I'm saying, sir? Yeah. Can I move on?
Yes, sir.
Pier 2 is called redundant channel. Redundant is the thing that is only where there is a problem on the main one. How many tires does your car have?
4. 5.
4. How many people say 4? How many people said 5? Okay. Those that said 5 are correct. It's only when you have a flat tire, that's when you do what? So most times it's only when there is a problem on your main line, that's when it will what? Move to what? Redundant line. As a design, people tell you are not reliable hotel. Okay, well, I want to love a language. Think that if there is no problem with your main line, there is no reason for us to use that one. So in some setup, the main reason why I use that example is that there are some times when there is a problem along that wire in that place, it should switch to redundant line. So it's only phone balls that have redundancy. It's only phone balls that have redundancy that will be able to use what? Pier 2. Pier 1 now is our main channel. Meaning that when you are doing your intercom, when you are setting up your intercom, you must ensure that your Pier 1 is what? Is working. If they remove one leg out of your leg now, God forbid, there is no way you can run again. No spear. So you must have it at the back of your mind that your Pier 1. And what is the color code of Pier 1? Blue and white or blue. Am I right or wrong?
Yes, bandstrip. Color code.
And green and what? Red and what?
Red and green. For solid color.
Those two must be what? Must be working. Because most of the time nowadays, most of the intercom we have nowadays, they doesn't have what? Some of them doesn't have room for redundancy. Only few of them have room for redundancy. And sometimes to save costs, instead of us using 2 pair, you just use what? 1 pair. To save costs. Abi, what do you do where you work? You use 2 pair. You go, you use 2 pair. You go, you use 2 pair. Who else again? You go, you use 2 pair. Who else again went for that side? You also use 2 pair. You go to
It looks like you don't talk.
your solid state color, we use them in patterns. Most solid state colors, you see them in what? Network patterns. So when you have a patterns, at least most of us electricians, you already know pattern now. That's it that you are tied to the wall. You find solid state colors here. You don't see white or green, green or green. You don't see those ones here. You only see red, yellow, green, and black. Nowadays, we now have some patterns that doesn't have what? Solid state color. They use what? Number code. There was a job one of my guys did in Abuja. He was sending me the picture of that. Throughout my course of training, I don't see this pattern. So because that area they were installing is just for an hotel, and they were to use fancy patterns. And that fancy pattern doesn't have color code. Me, I collect money. After collecting money, I now told him, normal now. Where they do that big job. If I suppose don't even tell you say you pay before you send on that take. I just gave it. In such design, you just need 2, 3, 4, 5. Just put it down like that. You need 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't start putting wires on 1 and 6. Or else.
In design is number code.
Yes, there are some network patterns that have number code. So in number code, you not see any color there. All you see there is just they will just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just abandon 1 and 6. Use 2, 3, 4, 5. And most time in such setup, you pin it down. The moment you put the wire in 1, you pin it. 2, pin, or all of them you put the wires and pin it once. But when you pin it down, it will already peel the wires and form a contact with it. Whereas in color code, you use a screwdriver to tie. You join it, you tie it back. Abi, use this. And the major reason why that color code is very common is that pattern is very cheap. Are you guys with me now? Because, well, if I have enough patterns, maybe all of us will have it. But if I don't have enough patterns, we divide ourselves into how many are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. We are 15 to 16. We are 16. So we might divide ourselves into 4 groups, 2 people. So the first 2 will do their own, or we divide ourselves into 4. The first 4 will do their own. The next 4 will do their own. So everybody. Maybe this is what I was but there's a problem with especially that partners. The one with where are we? You are the number So now you already know the color code. You already know the number code. You already know about RJ pin. What you are left with, you will creep this time. Creeping. Creeping means I'm now on creeping out. How many of us have creeping tools here?
I don't, but I know it.
4,000 per one.
I don't understand.
You mean, see. You don't know.
The function of your clipping tools is just to make sure that there is a contact between your cable and your RJ. That's just the major function. Your clipping tool ensure that there is a contact between your cable and your RJ. RJ stands for what? Region. So a standard clipping tool must have an RJ 11 ports, RJ 22, and RJ 45. And one of the problems of the standard clipping tool is that by the time you use them over time, it's not have enough grip like the original one. At least those that follow us to site. How many of you go to that site, Intercom site? Everybody that was present in that Intercom site, go and buy RJ. Go and buy clipping tool. That one is a must. Anybody, you were there? No, I was not there. Yeah, you must buy. You buy. Who else again? You buy. Who else again? He wasn't there. I was not there as well. Electrical contact. You see your RJ pin and your what? And the cable. That's major function. So by the time you are creeping like this, it will peel off this wire. The moment you press that, it will peel the wire and make sure there is a contact from here to the pin. There is a contact, and that was one of the major reasons why we don't join wires in intercom. The moment you join wire, there will be drop in what? In the quality of that. Maybe they tell you when you are at that side. The moment you are joining wire like this and twisting it together, there will always be an excessive contact here. It's always better you buy what? Okay. Who are those that follow? You went to the IP camera job. You also went to the IP camera. Do we join wires together? What do? You must buy what? Oh yeah. There's a point where we join it together. What would we use? Combine camera. We call it in to him, a joiner. So if it's RJ11, you buy RJ11 into him. If it's 45, you buy RJ45 into him. Meaning that RJ45 will be at this side, RJ45 will be at the other side, and there will be it must be just a single contact at the pole. It must not be twisted. It must not be that you twist it and you cut it. It must just be one single contact to make sure that there is a continuity. The moment there is a twist along the line, there will be a what? It will reduce the quality of service because
this connector you're talking about. Yeah. If you're doing conduits, you want to run the wire through pipe, will it follow?
Even if let me tell one funny thing in intercom. What do we do when we did that on IP camera? We first want the farthest ones. there is no room for joining. No. The moment you make mistake like this, you go and run another wire. You use that one in another place, or else they will keep calling you that there is an error on that line. I will answer your question. Oh yeah, you guys that did that one. What's the other alternative? Yes, now.
Use temper.
Use 10 pair.
Temper.
Thank you very much.
Closer to the building.
I will not tell you. We will get you.
Fallon plug, Afflon plug.
You use Afflon plug. Or last thing now, I know you don't know that one. You can also use MDF. That's where all those cables meet each other. Okay. So you are still coming to that. You say okay. Don't worry. Just pray that the job comes so that you other guys are not have the experience. You have it. I will try. We have it on ground, but it's much better when you go to the site and see how it's done. Can I move on now? So I will answer the question. In Intercom, Oga that asked question. In Intercom, you start from the cables that are farthest distance, and you conclude at once the cables that are closer, so that you don't have reason to join. If you start from those that are closer, by the time you get to those ones that are far, the wire might not be long. That's right. So if you have a cable from here to where the road legacy place, you start from those ones and end at the one closer.
That's like the way you want wire this cables.
That's the same way we do it. You have a question. Speak louder.
How many
You are not yet there.
So the question I asked, that you didn't answer it well. What I'm talking about is I'm not talking about the distance. For instance, in this shop now, the wire on ground are not there enough. Maybe some of them are short, and these are conduits. They run pipe. They run pipes.
In the place. See, if you try to join it together and you leave it like that, what you are avoiding now is to come back and fix it. So it's better you just tell them that you run those far ones. Now, the diagram I gave you now is for our thing. Although it works in our pattern now. So let me move to the next thing. Should I talk about it first? Let me talk about network patterns. Network patterns. Let me start with this. So we have 3 types of network patterns based on RJ framework. We have the RJ level network patterns, meaning that in RJ level we only use them for voice intercom. You will notice when you go to some banks, you see the right voice, which RJ level. They have data, have its own separate. Then we have what? RJ45, and that one is for data and modern video intercom. RJ45 is for data and modern video.
And modern.
Modern video intercom. Those are the 2 types that we have. I was expecting you guys to ask me, why don't we have RJ22 network patterns? Who can tell me the major reason? We have RJ11 and RJ45. Why don't we have RJ22?
It's only 4.
It's just to connect your phone box to your handpiece. So you don't have any reason to put it on the wall. How you guys get what I'm saying now? You just use it with phone box, your set-top box, your handpiece. You use it within the phone box. That's all. So there's no reason for it to have its own pin or cartridge. Now the next one we have based on the numbers of RJ, you have the single port network patterns, meaning that on it you have only one single space. It can't be 2. So based on the number. Yes, based on the number of RJs, you have the single port. You know there are some circuitry on their desk, you see 2 phone boxes. Especially when you go to some hotels, there will be a phone box that is serving all external calls that are coming in, and another phone box that they are using to communicate in the internal calls. Although that one is a wrong setup, if you know how to do your setup very well, everything is on the single phone box.
So I think I've seen network patterns that are double.
Yes.
Double port.
Yes.
So that side now, what was the name?
That's it. That's two. I'm going there. We have the single, then we have the double. In the double, that's the type that we use in circuitry points. There are some hotels that you go to that is ensuite. At least you know the meaning of ensuite. How many of us are sleeping in ensuite room before? Sapa don't come. You have a semi-sitting room. And most hotels, there is a single line that serves both your private room and your sitting room. The moment they call, is a single number that serves the two. In some designs, or actually, in some design, they will have a cable that will go to the desk on the sitting room. From there, they will now, the second port, they will now run it. Although it's wrong, normally there should be a loop cable. And there's a device that will get there later. I have one in my car. Pause the video, let me see. The two wire will still carry a single line. Although this one has a disadvantage. If you are at the room and you are picking call, and unfortunately you went to that hotel with your girlfriend.
Oh, you just be.
You can pick the call at the other end and listen to your conversation. Two. This type. There is another type that have an electronic device inside. That the moment somebody pick it in the room, even if there is another person at the sitting room, if you pick it like this, you not hear anything. And if you pick if the real owner pick at the sitting room, and your babe,
your madam,
your madam, maybe his madam at home that is thinking, this man, I'm suspecting that call, maybe it's one of the babe that is calling back. And he's trying to, he will not listen at the other end. What did I get what I'm saying now? So we also use dual. Also in data. Yeah, dual port. We have dual port for RJ11 and also have dual port for RJ45. Most banks, they normally have dual there because they know that there might be a problem with one. They don't need to wait for the technical officer. They switch to the other. We also make dual for what we call reliability. So that when one fails, you can easily move to the second one. So you can use it to provide double line. You can use it to provide single line in two ways. You can also use it for what? Reliability.
So what's the name of this device?
I will not tell you the name because we are not yet here. Okay. We are moving gradually. Like we want to, in Yoruba land we call something Puma. Do you remember Puma?
No, I don't know.
You don't know the based on installation name. I've talked about based on type. I've talked about based on number, based on installation name. We have the one we call the surface mattress, and we have the one called the condition mattress. Based on installation, we have the surface and we have the conduit. For those that follow me to that job, you will notice that in some designs, a standard hotel, they should have leave a port for phone box on the wall. So all you need to do is just tie the conduit mattress to that wall. Normally, your phone box should either be on your bedside or on your reading table. Am I right or wrong?
You are right.
On bedside or reading table. For those that normally are in the hotel. So, and in some standard hotel, you have two boxes. You have one on your bedside or on your reading table. And they believe that if you are rich enough to afford that room, there's no reason for you to steal that phone box and take it to. That's why you don't normally see phone box in short time rooms. But they don't say you want to use one and
You steal the phone box, so what do you want to do with it?
Some people are very mad now. At least somebody stole my cable. Need. So in some design they do it as surface. Let me tell you where we use it as conduit. We use the conduit network patterns in where Intercom has been added to the design of that building. Are you getting what I'm saying now? There was a job like that. There was a design like that. One of my friends is an architect said, I can't be vet this design. I was looking at that design. How will you build a 20-room hotel and none of the room have network patterns? She just said, it doesn't even come to my understanding at all. So they need to correct the. You have not the complete design. They need to correct. You have MIE, you have structural design, you have the force structure, you have the post. Don't let me talk about design here. I'm not here to train your design, but your normal design. When you see electrical design like this, and they give you electrical design of an hotel, check for the electrical ports. In a standard hotel, it must have how many ports? Electrical ports?
3.
Minimum of 3. 1 for what? TV. 2 for
your
side fridge, and 1 is
another
common for maybe you want to charge and the rest. Your TV, some people they will make sure that your TV is what? Double. So that one can serve for what? For your DVD. You don't put DSTV in your rooms in hotel. So one can sign for your DVD. If you lodge in any exporter hotel, you will notice that every room has its own DVD. They felt like may have a DVD that you want to play while you want to sleep. Okay. As an installer, we are back to the job. As an installer, I have 10 minutes for the time that I spend. When they give you a design, you must check how many electrical ports is available here. You know, there are sometimes the building will still be under construction. You want to install CCTV here, you want to install intercom. Those are part of the thing you need to check in the design of the house. So when you get there, talk to the electrician. How many electrical ports can you do? How many times say I know intercom? No, there should be an intercom. The owner of the project or the supervisor or the architect will know that you know what you are doing. And another thing about intercom design is that all intercom must, in each floor, it must have its own separate box. So if we have 4 floors now, all the intercom design should have its own separate port on the floor. And each of the points on each floor should loop each other. You know, we have something we call risers, Abi? Risers mean the loop between the ground floor and the next floor. Am I right or wrong? The electrician here gets what I'm saying. So for each intercom port, we don't normally allow you to pass through electrical points. Because if there is a substandard wire there and there is heat being generated, the quality of your call at your phone box will reduce. So you should have your own separate port, separate box, and separate risers. If you don't know meaning of riser, go and ask the electrician that here later after the transfer.
So the box you're talking about now is it 6? No network patches box. No network patches box. Are you talking about 6 by 6?
You can even use normal adapting box. It's just for all the wires to have a point.
Yeah, they will.
When we put our MDF, it just normally need to be 6 by 6. How if people go to Elisha job here? Elisha. Okay, okay, we can't went to Elisha job. Were you at the Elisha project? It was early this year now. You are at the Elisha.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, Elisha.
No. I not go Elisha.
One of Justus Idolo tó sá lọ tó lóun ní program. Reason in Elisha project we use MDF at the ground floor. So you check electrical ports. After the electrical port, you check the intercom ports. Nowadays, we don't have internet ports in the rooms again. You have it at the lobby. At the lobby. Because at the lobby, they should have access points that will supply internet to each room. Nowadays, you don't need to use cable to plug the internet. So after you check the design, how many is it? You now check the lobby. You make sure that it was internet ports. Next after that, the next thing you check is you check TV ports. Yes or no? And TV port must be at what height?
I think 4 feet from the system. 4 feet from the ground. Yes.
3 feet. 3 feet from the ground.
That's about 4-5 blocks.
That's about 4-5 blocks, depending on the type of block you're using. Are you getting what I'm saying? Your TV port must not be at the some mistake that some electrician is that they now put at the back of the TV is wrong. It should be a little closer to the end of the TV. Are you guys there what I'm saying? So you have your TV ports. And that TV port, most time should be what? Beside the electrical port. So you can put on and off the TV closer to the end. It must not be exposed.
So the reason why we are putting that socket at the back there, normally when you hang your plasma, those wires will not be exposed. You understand? You can easily go use your hand to the back.
But it makes it more difficult to maintain.
You want to maintain, you have to know.
You want to do anything, right? Just imagine now you want to remove the TV that fell from the hand.
And the pin,
And sometimes the pressure of the TV is not make that cable to be clear. The response of the cable to be clear. Do you guys have any questions? Okay, I still have extra like 8 minutes. So after that, you have checked your CV points. You have checked what? Electrical port. I want to ask you a question. You know, we agree that we are having 3 electrical ports. One of them should be 1 mm or 1.5. But you know that in the room, they normally use one for 2.5. That is the major reason.
The reason is this. The one of 2.5 is because of maybe the quality,
Show his face now.
the strength of the appliance you connect it to.
Some rooms, if you are lodging at Owukan Hotel now, the room they will give you a water heater, so you can heat up your tea. Your water heater should not be on 1 mm or 1.5. It should be on 2.5.
Or sometimes even 4 mm.
Even sometimes 4 mm. It's not your own use. I'm just adding it because there are some electrician here. Sometimes your bedside fridge, you couple with the water heater. So it's 2 high-powered devices that will do it. And if it's a setup that they are to use inverter in the design, you must have designed it in such a way that you have separated that bedside fridge, water heater, AC from the old inverter system. Okay, you are following. At least you are getting some things now.
Yes, sir.
There was an hotel. The last job I did in Ibadan, they lodged me in an hotel. Do you know what that hotel did? They have separate switch at the reception. Say 45 with technology. That at the reception, the moment they want to put on the fridge like this, if the guest forgot to put off the AC in the room, they will put it off from the reception.
A gas switch.
So that single gas switch like this will trip off all the ACs. For electricians, you understand what I'm saying? So that they will now come and say, and I don't add it.
They have it in blue and white.
Eh?
Sorry. They have it in blue and white.
Teach you basic of electrical installation. So they expect you as a civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical, any engineering that you do, there will always be a power supply to it. So you should be able to manage a part of the power. But for us, it's a full-time course for us. Can I move on? This one is up where you
in case of for high that I'm not an electric student now, and there are some people here as well, they might not want to ask questions about it. So I just want to ask this. For some of those you are saying, it might not be our own job as an installer.
It's not your own job, but you must confirm it, because sometimes the moment that is not in place, some electrician will now go and run electrical cable through intercom port that you have made. Later they will not be calling you. The electrical cable will never have problem. It's your own intercom that is having that problem. So the moment you don't tell them earlier to separate it, they will just feel like, this is a 20 mm and just this wire is going through.
They will feel it. It will
go. Another wire will go. Let's pass another wire. And I did not run. Initially, you don't have any issue. After like a year, 2 years, 3 years that using that, they will not be complaining that your own job is not good. It's not your fault. It's the electrician's fault. That's why I'm explaining this now. So parameter, you now go back there and you now describe that they are running electrical cable alongside the intercom. You advise them to what? To move to another port. Leave it alone for intercom, because it's my cause interference. That's why I go deep explaining those ones. Now is a waste of time.
Because of your explanation, are you just, is this applicable in an already existing facility?
I'm coming here. I'm still coming here. We have just talked about conduit batteries. Now let me move to the second one. We now want called surface batteries. That is the design used in some of the rooms in that establishment. In designs where they don't make provision for intercom at all. You know, there are some people, maybe he's a civil servant. Later, they just promote him and just go to an office where he can steal a lot of Nigerian money. Just feel like that house can say, I want to grind the house. The house that maybe he has 4 wives, they already have like 20 rooms in the house. I should not be shouting to call everybody now. Let me have intercom that will go through all the rooms. You know, you can't start breaking that house again. I'm giving you a real life scenario. You can't start breaking that house. In that setup now, you need to now make provision for what? Surface cabling. So it's either you use your trunking pipe, only pipe, or you clip the wire directly. They just use pin to clip it. And they are saying with the name, so like tabak clip. Boniface. Sade is the name of that girlfriend that gave him breakfast.
Oh.
Can I move on now? So in such design, you can't use conduit patches again. You use what? Surface patches. Surface patches, some of them you can tie them to the wall. Some of them is to just have a glue. You can glue it to the wall. And most times, sometimes we just put the surface patches beside the closest electrical port. So you make it closer to the electrical port and closer to the point where you can place your phone box. It's not that you go and put your wire there and phone box is coming here. There's one stupid hotel I lodge of reason like that. I just discovered that I just noticed that one wire go at the back. Initially I was thinking maybe they have done rituals here. So I need to check the desk very well. In Nigeria we dey now, I don't notice that it's an intercom wire that like they can decide to put something under the bed now.
So maybe the problem is not from the person who laid the cable.
Sometimes, sometimes the architects might decide to change the setup of the room. The bed is here before, and they change the direction of the bed. And they need to put the phone box beside the direction of the bed. So they will not need to do wire. But me, I just saw one wire. You are rubbing down. But because my dad, I just noticed that they changed the direction of the table. And the funny thing is that they already have a conduit patches there. So they now put a surface, they connect another one and make a surface one. And put the surface patches close to the phone box. There's a setup, when we get to configuration, you notice that in on setup you have two mattresses. You guys know what I'm saying now. So in surface mattress, in design that they don't make provision for intercom, you can use it. In design that they already make provision for intercom, but there is room for adjustment. No, I want to ask a senior colleague, it's not even my a senior architect asking that why do you call it building? It's already built now. It has to be called built, not building. Abi?
Even in accounting, you call it building.
You call it building as well, you don't call it built. He said because there is always a room for renovation and adjustment. He said, let me, and as long as it's continuous, it's still a building. So that's why they don't call it built. They call it a building, not a built. You get what I'm saying now? So there's always a room for adjustment. So the moment they are doing such adjustment, you also must have that orientation that they might have a conduit mattress and they change the direction of the bed, or they change the direction. There are even some banks, they'll just do renovation and they'll change everything. And you now start seeing wire flying around.
So I think will start in there.
You get what I'm saying? It's not in hotel. Some banks, you just conduit make the surface come back to work. There was somebody that was asking me that why don't we put underground mattress? I said, where they will put water and mop the ground and everything will become. Am I wrong? There are some design you see underground mattress, you just press it, the mattress come out. As you are doing underground in your private building, where your children can pour water on the ground, and water will enter that pot. I said, it's better we use. You need to defend why you are using each of them. That even make you look more professional in the presence of your clients. Whether it's an architect, whether it's an engineer, whether it's a quantity surveyor or a builder. Because he's asking you why are you putting that. You need to give him reason. You need to use conduits because it's still undergoing process. We need to use software because we have already done it. We are doing innovation. You need to put underground. There are some designs, there are some offices that you not even see perfect at all. To come out under the ground sitting. Some banks like that, you not see people. There was a time I want to charge, when I was still using iPhone, I want to charge iPhone then. They said they can't allow me. You just connect to our internet and use it to steal all our data. You understand what I'm saying now? So you must, as long as they are making provision, there are sometimes they feel like that manager want to deal with it. They will go and first call to the platform line. So they just say, I'm calling everything. One of my friends once worked in the customer care center. I said when they are work, they don't realize that there is a cable that supplies data to all their calling ports. It's one idiot out of them. Not Nigeria now. Everybody is working in customer care. You just go and remove that cable. The moment you remove that cable, all their section like this, no call is coming in. You just you asking them. You understand what I'm saying? So as a designer, you must put it there and say, this is here. Let it be in a place that is safer than where it used to be. So that will be what we decide whether are you using surface, are you using conduit, are you using both, and why do you prefer one to the other. Do you have any question you're asking me? Let me stop and pass it. I've already added extra 9 minutes. So in the absence of no question, when details. So when are we having our